Rob?
Hello everyone, welcome to Rob's Rogues in the Batman Universe.net, and today we're taking a look at the DC Comics Multiverse from Mattel. Of course, this is Batman vs. Superman, Batman Unmasked. This figure and the Superman figure, which I don't have Superman, there's a little funny story with that. The funny part of the story is I went to my local Toys R Us. These two figures kind of showed up out of nowhere. They were not on the original packaging of the figures, and I do have one of the packages here from Nightmare Batman, as you can kind of see on the back. This is what we knew the line was going to be. We still don't know this figure at the moment, but on some Facebook groups, the image of this Batman and a heat-visioned Superman started appearing. And you can kind of see we have some French and Spanish, if I believe I got those right, different text on the box. And it was originally thought that this was a Canadian exclusive, a Canadian Toys R Us exclusive, and then it started to filter out into the US, and it's starting to become a Toys R Us, I would say worldwide exclusive. So over the course of probably the week or two before the movie came out, people started finding them in the US. And I saw somebody from Kentucky find one, so I thought, okay, Ohio and Kentucky are close, so maybe we'll get one eventually. And a Toys R Us that I frequent did finally have these. They had about 7 or 8 of the Unmasked Batman, so I was looking at the best one, and I'll kind of go over that once we look at the figure review. And they had one Superman. So a mother and her boy, the kid is probably 7, 8 years old. I had the Batmans, I had like 5 Batmans in my hand, just kind of looking to see which one that I wanted, which had the best painted eyes and, just different features. And I had Superman laying down in front of me, but when the kid came over to look at the stuff, I just kind of slid out of the way a little bit, and I was kind of holding Superman for Stu Murray. And I thought, well, he's the only one. I'll kind of set him in front of me, and I'll pick up both of them. So the mother starts looking at figures like, oh, who do you want here? Now, granted, these are $19.99 in stores, so I thought there's no way the mother is going to pick up one of these figures for her son. She's going to go and steer him towards the $9.99 figures. And she's like, oh, look right there, there's a Superman with heat vision. Kid reaches up, grabs it, and takes off. So there was that part of me, I was like, I'm not going to turn around and say, hey, that was mine, when it was a small child. So I only walked out with this Batman. So that's the story there with that. The rest of the packaging is pretty much identical to the standard Batman. They didn't even do a picture of Ben Affleck, Bruce Wayne, out of the cowl, which there are some floating around. I have a couple books with Batman out of his mask, but they didn't do that there. It's just a standard art. The write-up is gone from here, and so you can see it in the different languages there. And then the back is different, and I want to kind of call some shenanigans on the back of the box here. Now, granted, it doesn't show Superman down here like the other exclusive in the set. It does say that there is an exclusive add-on accessory for the grapnel blaster, which, trying to figure out what this was before the movie came out, we now know this black piece is the rope that's coming out, and these are the hooks that go up into the ceiling if you've seen the movie. So it says here, figure may not stand as shown, which is kind of a way of saying, hey, our ankle joints could be horrible, so he's not going to stand. I do have one figure, the Armored Batman, that's kind of prone to falling, but everybody else stands perfectly fine. And then it's just written in different accessories, different languages. The funny thing is that the picture of Batman that they show here is the standard Batman. And at first I thought, oh, well, they've just got the cowl put on top of Batman, which you can see here, but the neck skin is showing. So you may be able to say, well, maybe they just colorized that here. Due to the way the cape is sitting right here, which I can show you on the standard Batman, due to the way the cape is sitting here, it's the same as it is right there, and there's no way that cowl is going to sit on there properly. So that'll be interesting to see. It'll be cool to have to set up on a display diorama, or maybe something that Superman is holding on to if you've seen the movie. Anyway, so that was kind of an all-over beginning box portion. I kind of wanted to go through that really quick. So let's get this guy out of package, and we will compare him better to the standard Batman from Mattel. We will be right back. Do not go anywhere. All right, like we have done every time before, we'll take a look at the Collect and Connect piece, the new Collect and Connect piece. And as you can tell, I've got quite a few figures, but I'm now getting more to the point of I have less that are connected than are. We've got 3 pieces down here that are connected, and I've got 2 pieces and now another one that's not. They put the hole in here, and I wasn't sure at the time, like, well, it just must be a hole just for the sake of having the hole. They must have. They obviously knew that they were going to do this, and kind of surprised everybody that we were going to get another piece. So like I said, this one would set here, and this one will kind of rest on here. There's nothing really holding it right now. I can't even get it to stay. I would have really wished in the order that they were releasing their figures, they would have put corresponding pieces that would have actually physically connected to something, but neither here nor there. So I am getting it to balance right now, and I'm sure as I do this, it's probably going to fall due to the weight of this other piece. So here are the hooks that in the movie they're in the down position and then go shooting up through a board or something, then fan out, and this allows Batman to support his weight as he's, dragging somebody. So if you've seen the movie, you know who I'm talking about. There's the end piece here, so this goes on there, so at least we can connect that piece. And this is just supposed to represent the rope coming out, so you can display it with or without it, which is nice. And then it should go into this front piece here, and it is now too heavy to hold. So I mean, this will look cool once it's all set up and ready to go. So I mean, not too bad for what this is. They didn't have to do this at all. I think most people now, having seen the movie, and if you've seen the trailers, maybe having a Collect and Connect Doomsday might have been pretty cool. But to have this, to be able to display on my shelf with all my other Batman stuff, and again, this piece can't sit anywhere yet. I think it goes right here. It will be cool to do so once everything is out. So hopefully I'm able to find everybody. Superman, I believe, comes with the exact same accessory. So in this case, it was not one that I felt like I absolutely have to go get that Superman, or I'm not going to have a completed gun. If I saw Superman, I might pick him up just so the completist in me of picking up this line is complete. Because you'll see in just a little bit, this line is very Batman heavy. And with it being Batman versus Superman, these 4 Batmans that I have now are clearly going to beat the snot out of Superman. So let's get into the Unmasked Batman review. And here is Unmasked Batman out of package. Now there are a couple things that I really like on this guy right off the bat. The first and foremost is the color of the suit. When I do the comparison, this suit is much darker than what the original release was, and I wish there was a way to do... I think I could do it fairly well as do a head swap, but the neck is going to be showing on this particular Batman, so I would have to paint the neck black and then swap the head out, and then it would be pretty close to being correct. There is, a definite seam going in and around the neck, so it might look a little funny, but the color of the suit on this one I think is very much closer to the screen color of the suit. The original Mattel is a little 2 on the, actually it's a lot lighter gray. So it looked a little off. Wasn't horrible, but seeing it this way, that Mattel decided to probably change how they did it, because the sculpt is exactly the same. The cape is a little different. It's a little bit narrower, and they just kind of heightened some of the other parts on him a little bit. The cape is all textured, and it was not textured before. So the texture of the cape now matches the texture of the cowl. So, and it's a different head and attachment that they've used before. It's kind of more akin to a Marvel Legends. Let's get in closer, because I think this is a thing that some people really kind of want to look at. Is it Ben Affleck? I think it's Ben Affleck-esque. They've got the chin down right. They've got the mouth pretty, yeah, okay. Some people said he has Asian eyes. Not to offend anybody there. I don't think he does. It's just got that real solemn, worn look. And I think they represented it well enough. Mattel has done much better. I'm not making a pass at it, going, well, it's a 6-inch figure. We've seen Mattel do a lot better with a lot less. But on the other hand, people saying this is horrible, I don't think it's horrible. I think you're able to tell, who it's supposed to be, and it works just fine. I've thought about doing a head swap. If I want to have a suited body, I've been using the Christian Bale head on a suited body to have just a standard Bruce Wayne. So I would think I would be able to do that as long as they didn't change the peg in the head. Again, you can see the texture that's in the cape, which they're trying to replicate the movie. It's funny how they did this. They didn't do it on the standard Batman, but they did it here. So like the standard Batman has the textured cowl and just a straight non-textured cape. This one has the textured cape, and so does the cowl, but I'll show you the cowl in just a second. You can see right here in the back where the peg is. So they could have hid that a little bit better, I think. So it'll be curious to see if I can get the head off, what the hole is like on the inside. I like that they put the 5 o'clock shadow on there. I mean, I think it is very Ben Affleck-esque. Again, it's not the most perfect that it could be representation, but I think it's good enough for the average person. They should be able to say, oh, hey, that's Ben Affleck. Or it's supposed to be Ben Affleck. I mean, for what this is, again, I'm not saying this is the best figure since sliced bread here, but I think Mattel did an admirable job. It's the first since the DC Universe Classics line that they started doing 6-inch figures again. We've got some Arrow figures, we've got some Zero-Year Batman figures, Endgame Batman. So they're trying. So that's all I'm gonna say. Am I glad I have this guy? Oh yeah, totally. The cape's a little bit different. I'll show you the cape here in just a second from the other Batman. Here is the cowl, and like I said in the back of the box, figure may not stand as shown. A little loose legs. So there's the cowl. That, look at this way, it's like, okay, it's not bad. It looks a little fat, and this is classic Kenner Mattel, in that there's the slit in the back, so you could put this over him and go, oh, okay, well, Rob, there you go. You don't have to do a head swap. You can just put this over top. And if anybody has the old, as I punched the camera, sorry. If anybody has the old Kenner Batman Returns Batman, the quick change Bruce Wayne into Batman, this is how that cowl works. So it's going to make his face look very, very fat. Okay, now it's not so good. Again, I appreciate what they did here, but I mean that's a fat head. Doesn't work well at all. There's the people that's like, why does Batman have to paint his eyes? Well, there you go. You can see that in there. Is this the way I'm going to pose him? No, not at all. Will I give this to Superman maybe in a pose? Yeah. Maybe do the head swap with the Nightmare Batman and then put the unmasked Bruce Wayne head on the Nightmare Batman and kind of have him chained up like he was in the film and then give this cowl to Superman. I might do that. Another option that you could possibly do is take off the head of Bruce Wayne and put this head on top, just resting on there, and then put the head on a suited body, and then you could kind of recreate the costume chamber where now that the head isn't in there, you can kind of squeeze it in a little bit and get it to set in a little bit tighter. So, I mean, that might work too. I'm not going to go ahead and do all this like I normally would for the review, the boiling water, hair dryer trick and all that. If somebody wants to see it, I may do it once I've completed the whole entire line so you can kind of see those different options. You should be able to do it. I'm just being lazy and not going to take the time this time. So let's bring up the standard Batman and we'll look at the two side by side. So right off the bat, it's a pretty, I think it speaks for itself, the difference in the suit. That's completely two different colors. I'm wondering why. It's enough that I was picking this up anyway because we got to unmask. They could have just done it in this same color. I love this color so much more. I want this color to be on this suit. But like I was showing you, there's no real way to do that unless I take the cape off this one, the head off this one, and then this whole piece is one giant piece. So it would set up over top of that. That is how that could possibly work. So that would mean removing this piece, taking that one off, and then switching heads. And then I think it would work properly. I'm not one to normally, if these are the only two versions of these characters or figures that I have a hard time myself altering them just for the sake of altering them. For me, what I like to do is buy two more and then do the switch. So this Batman, there are tons of him all over the place. So I've even thought about, well, I'll just put a cloth cape on it or a pleather type cape and make it look a little bit better and then repaint it. And now seeing this, it makes me go, if I can find another one of these guys at Toys R Us, I might do that. So I just wanted to be able to show you the difference between the two, and there are definitely some glaring differences. I like the width of this cape a little bit. This one is kind of rolled back a little bit. Like I was telling you before, this is just a glossy, non-textured, and then the textured version is here. So we do get two different capes on this Batman. One's flared out, one's more in a relaxed position. The body color has changed. Even the blacks are a little bit more, this one's a little bit more matte, this one's a little bit more glossy with the texture. The belts are fairly the same. The gold piece has been painted on the square here right in the front is smaller here, and this one's been painted a lot larger like I think it's supposed to. They did get the bronzing right on both of the brass knuckles, so to speak, the knuckle dusters and the gauntlets, and then the toes. So that's the two. I do like this one a lot. Probably next to Nightmare Batman. This might be my favorite Batman out of the set. Speaking of Batman and Nightmare Batman, let's bring up the rest of the Mattel Batman from this line. And here are all the Batman versus Superman Batmans from this particular line. That's 4 Batmen, and Superman there is only 1. It looks like on the back of the box that there is another Superman, but I'm trying to figure out what Superman it could possibly be. I don't know if it's a battle damage Superman that they're going to do. I don't believe they're going to release another black suited Batman. I wouldn't think they would, because it's not really accurate to this movie. I don't want to do a spoiler if nobody has seen the film, which I think most people have at this point. There could potentially be another Superman if you think of the end of the film. I don't think they would do that. It could be somebody completely different. So I'm really surprised we didn't get like a Clark Kent out of the line. We've got a Bruce Wayne here. That's what a lot of us collectors would like, is give me a standard Bruce Wayne in a suited body. Give me a reporter Clark Kent. And Alfred might have been cool. Then again, that would have been 5 Batman characters, if you consider all these just different ones. 5 different Batman-themed figures from the line. So I'm not sure who the last one is. I think it's going to be a Superman. But what kind of Superman, it's hard to tell. Speaking of Superman, let's bring up all of the Mattel figures that I have currently. All right, here are all the Mattel Batman versus Superman figures. Like I said in the Nightmare Batman review, I could kick myself for not picking up Aquaman when I saw him. I went as far as to kind of hide him and go, okay, I'll wait till payday, go pick him up. I threw him behind some wrestling figures and somebody found him because we went back to that Walmart a day later and I was just like, oh, screw it. I'm going to pick up Aquaman. So I should have Aquaman here. I'm hoping that one of the other Walmarts that I have will get that particular wave soon enough. I like this Mattel wave. I like that Mattel is trying, whether you think they're doing well or not with this particular line. It's probably subjective to your taste. I think the Nightmare Batman is still my favorite. The Bruce Wayne Batman is not too bad. Then Wonder Woman, Superman, the standard Batman, the mech suit Batman. I think just some more detailing probably should have been done in more paint. He looks very just flat in this suit. I actually think that there is another version of this kind of floating around, unless it's some doctored versions that somebody is trying to pass off as legit. But as far as I know, these are all the standard versions of the figures that are out. Other than Aquaman that I'm missing, Lex Luthor is coming, and then there is one more figure that we're not made aware of who is coming out yet in this line to complete the Grapnel Blaster. So I know this video was a little bit long here, but I kind of wanted to go through all these points on the Unmasked Batman and then kind of show the line as a whole. Here is Sad Batman. Final thoughts on this figure. I really like it. Some people don't like it, and that's perfectly fine. For me, I was hoping we were going to get a unmasked Batman with a Bruce Wayne head or a suited body Bruce Wayne from Mattel. I'll be probably sooner rather than later probably trying to do a head swap, and I'll do an update video in the next figure that I have here from this line. I like it. As far as I know right now at the moment, this is a Toys R Us exclusive, so check out your Toys R Us's. They are starting to filter out through all across the United States now, so don't pay the scalping prices on eBay. I'm seeing the Superman figure going for $65. Unfortunately, I think Superman is one per case. There was only one at my Toys R Us, and some little kid grabbed him. But at the Toys R Us that I was at, there were 7 of this particular Batman. So I'm half wondering if they got 2 cases in, and there were 2 Supermen there. By the time I got there, there was only 1. So I think I could go back to that Toys R Us and pick up another one of these if I wanted to do a custom at some point. I like the figure. I think it's pretty cool. And anything from Mattel at the moment, as long as they continue to keep improving and maybe get back to that DC Universe quality that they had at one point, that'd be pretty cool. But I think this is a step in the right direction. Today we were taking a look at the Toys R Us exclusive Unmasked Batman with special add-on Grapnel Blaster accessory. And as always, this is Rob for Rob's Rogues and the BatmanUniverse.net signing off saying we will see you guys next time.